Iris, I need a favor.
What can I help you with, sir?
I need you to run command new camera and let me know what my options are.
Running command new camera. Searching. 3 options found. Option 1. Canon EOS R6. Features include 20.1 megapixel sensor, 4K 60 frames per second 10-bit photo 2, and 5-axis image stabilization. Option 2. Sony A7S3. Features include 16-bit RAW output, 4K 120 10-bit photo 2, and 759 point fast hybrid AF. Option 3. Fujifilm X-T4. Features include 26.1 megapixel sensor, 4K 60 10-bit photo 2, and full HD 240 frames per second.
What are the cheapest options out of those 3?
The Fujifilm X-T4. This camera comes in at $1,700 US.
That's not bad. That's not bad. When can that get here?
By tomorrow morning, sir.
Let's go with that one. What is going on, guys? Eric White in the building once again, and you might have realized that I have taken a very long break from YouTube, and it's not, I say this every single time I make a video. It was for a reason, I swear. Now, as you can see, we are filming on a very good looking camera, and it looks a lot better than what I usually do, and that is because, like the video implies, this is the Fujifilm X-T4. I just got, well, not, I haven't just gotten it, it's been about 2 weeks now, but I've had this camera for about 2 weeks now, and the reason why I delayed so long making a video was because I knew the next video that I made, I knew that I wanted it to be the absolute pinnacle of what I can produce, and that just wasn't going to happen with the phone that I was using for a camera. It was great for the year and a half, 2 years that I was using it to make videos. It got me through, but I'm really trying to get better looking content. I want to do more professional content, just make everything about my channel a little bit more higher quality. And this camera was one of the first things. I'm sorry, I just realized I keep doing that. I'm so not used to being able to see myself in the camera like I can right now, so I keep on looking at myself on that LCD screen. But I just wanted to talk to you guys today about 1, the new camera, and 2, why I chose this one over a lot of other really good cameras that have come out in the past month or so, maybe 2 months or so. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first camera that I want to talk about is the biggest camera that's come out in the last month, and that is the Canon R5 and R6. Now, everyone knows about these cameras. If you've been in the camera world for a while, you probably knew about these cameras in January when they were getting talked about, and you knew about them when they got announced, and you know about the really big news that's surrounding them, which isn't actually really good at all, and that is the overheating issue that it has. Now, that is actually not necessarily the reason. Well, actually kind of is, but I wasn't even looking at the R5. I was looking at the R6, the 20 megapixel 4K 60 camera that, you know, did a decent job at what it, you know, it was trying to do. I was looking at that camera. I wasn't even looking at the R5. Now, the reason why I decided not to go with the R6, although it was a really good camera, was because I found out that even that camera was overheating. So supposedly Canon came out with some type of news or some interview that they did saying that even if you were in the menus after you take a couple of photos, the camera was still overheating whether you were using it or not. If it was just sitting in the menus, it was still building up heat. And even more recently, there's been some news that Canon was artificially making the camera overheat, meaning that because it was shooting for a while, they made the system stop recording or give an overheating warning before it was actually at that temperature that it wouldn't be able to. It was really weird, and I'm not exactly sure how they're gonna work that all out. But when the R6 was originally announced, I was super excited. I was like, this is gonna be my camera. I put it on my Instagram story. By the way, if you don't follow me on Instagram, go do that right now. Love you, thank you. And I was really excited about the camera, and then once I found out all that, I was like, I really can't risk me getting that and having some overheating issues and then trying to go through returning it and then waiting. Like it just was not worth it for me. So I decided, you know what, I'm not gonna get that camera. So then I moved on to the camera that came out 2 or 3 weeks later, and that is the Sony A7S3. Now, the Sony A7S3 is probably going to be the best camera that has come out in this year and probably for the next couple of years, just because it's that good of a camera. Now, this camera has everything that you could ever want. 4K 120, 10-bit codec, even goes up to 16-bit, I think, if you shoot externally. But the one thing that I really just wasn't okay with, and that was the 12 megapixel sensor for photos that you were getting with this camera. Now, technically, you don't need to go above 12 megapixels or 10 megapixels to get a really nice 4K image. But for me, for someone who's going to be shooting a lot of photos and crops in a lot, you know, doing different effects and things like that just to reframe it, 12 megapixels is not going to be enough for me. And I know it's not going to be enough because shooting on my Canon Rebel T3, every time I would crop in or bring up the shadows or, you know, just the little tiny things, the image would very quickly fall apart, and it was very frustrating. So I know the 12 megapixel camera is just not going to work for me. And on top of that, the camera is insanely expensive. I think it starts at around, I just looked at the price too. It starts at around $3,000 or $3,800 without a lens. And I don't have any Canon lenses, which would mean I would have to get an adapter or go with a Sony lens, which is typically very expensive. So after all of that, I was just like, the camera is great and I know it has so much potential. I can't look at that. So, and then there was the Sony A6600, which in short, I didn't like the flip up screen, and it was also only an 8-bit codec. So I just really didn't want to have that. So all the Sony cameras they just fell short in some way. And basically everything just kept coming back to the Fujifilm X-T4. It just had too many features to overlook. It has the flip to the side screen, which I kept looking at the beginning of this video. It's really, really handy, especially when you're doing content like this where you're shooting yourself. It has 4K 60, 10-bit 422, which is the image that you're looking at right now. I'm shooting it at 422 in a 10-bit codec, and I'm shooting it in F-Log, which I'm not sure exactly how this F-Log or the log footage compares to other like S-Log and C-Log and all those other log footages, but to me it looks like a very, very nice, pleasing image. I like the highlight roll off and, you know, all the good stuff like that. A dual SD card slot, which I don't technically need, but it is so nice to have. And yeah, the only thing that was really holding me back from buying this camera and I was really scared about was the autofocus. But I mean, like, you know, it's doing a pretty good job. Like, it's not hunting. Like, I saw a lot of videos of people who were testing it out and it was hunting a lot and very jittery, and it would randomly go to the background and then back to the face. And I'm looking at it right now and it's doing an okay job at tracking my face. It could be better, you know, it's not as sticky, but it's doing an okay job. So yeah, I mean, it definitely does have some issues that I'm gonna have to fix, like the IBIS as well. It leaves a little bit to be desired, but I'm willing to make those sacrifices because the image and the quality of video that you're getting from this camera and the stills are just way too good to give up. That's why I decided to go ahead and go with the Fujifilm X-T4. Every other camera kept on falling short. The R6 had the overheating issues. The A7S3 was way too expensive, and it fell short in photography a little bit for me. I mean, they would be usable, but I just wasn't comfortable going with only 12 megapixels. The A7 III didn't have a flip up screen. It was only an 8-bit codec. A6600, I don't like the flip up screen because it blocks the mic if you want to put something on there, and it only had an 8-bit codec as well. And just everything, like even the other older Canons, the EOS R had way too many features that just bogged down the 4K. It can only do 120 and 720. And there was just so many cameras that every time I wanted to get a feature, I'd have to lose this or I'd have to lose this, and it just wasn't worth it. And the Fujifilm X-T4 was the perfect camera for the most part. I don't feel like I'm really losing anything. And I'm also adapting my old Canon lenses on here. So this is my 24mm 2.8, and I also have my 50mm 1.8, and these adapt beautifully. I've already taken some photos with them. I'm taking a video with it right now. The autofocus is perfectly fine. It's a nice and crisp image. Like, there's literally like I don't feel like I'm losing using this camera, and I'm really excited for some content for you guys, so stay tuned for that. And that is gonna end it right here for this video. Now I know this video is a little bit shorter, actually might be the same amount because I've been talking for so long, but I have a lot of really good content coming out for you guys, so make sure if you have not yet, you click that subscribe button, click the like button to turn blue if you have not yet. If you didn't like this video, click the dislike button twice. I'm gonna start saying that because I think that sounds really cool. And that's gonna do it for this video, guys, so thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.